Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Today, we're discussing a watch that loads up the complication and value, offers rarity and precision from a great brand with a classical aesthetic. This is the Breitling Montbrillant Olympus, a semi-perpetual calendar, a chronograph, a moon phase, a circular slide rule, and a chronometer, all in a delectable 42.1mm stainless steel case. It measures 15mm thick by 48mm lug-to-lug with a 22mm spacing between the lugs. This model was made from 2006 to 2010, and the example you see here was manufactured in 2008. Throwing it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. It's a large wearing 42, but I should mention that it measures 42 at the bezel, not at the case. So as it sits on the wrist, it's not quite as big as you might suspect, but it is broad at 48mm lug-to-lug with strong lug profiles. I recommend it for a wrist 15 centimeters circumference or larger, and while it's not terribly thick, it's also not terribly thin, so consider it clear of jacket cuffs but not tight dress shirts. It also has a lovely and nostalgic beaded bezel look that evokes the earliest Breitling Navitimers of the 1950s. Now, throwing it closer to the camera for a moment, the hardware and the software is impressive, as the strap, though it features a contrasting aviator's white stitch in black leather, the leather is a large rectangular scale alligator leather rather than the more common and cheaper calfskin generally seen on pilots' watches. You can also see with a sheer cut just how much leather is lavished on the strap, and it is thickly bolstered to add volume and the feeling of substance. You'll also appreciate that it is fresh calfskin on the bottom and a brand new Breitling factory strap. The buckle is a Breitling piece, high polished, a pin buckle for quick adjustments, and a feature I happen to like, it features an elevated bridge over the two stanchions. So rather than being in the same plane, it's elevated above so that the strap sits inside the buckle when it's on your wrist rather than stacking up underneath it. It's a small but much appreciated refinement. The case band is true to the heritage of the Navitimers, and while this is technically from the Montbrillant model line, everyone understands that this watch is an homage to the Navitimer heritage, and it is really an extension of that model's legacy. So consider this both a Montbrillant and a Navitimer. All of high polished, as a thin case band, though you can see that the case back is set back somewhat, so it looks a little bit thinner when it's on the wrist. There are some small transitional bevels on the lugs, and then the lugs are squared off at their ends. Again, this is all classic Navitimer design language. Some pusher adjusters for the calendar system, and you can see the pushers are not in the same plane as the crown, so this is a modular complication. They are pump-style pushers. Again, vintage evocative. There is a beaded profile to the bezel, and the earliest Navitimers did have that beaded bezel. Later Navitimers had bigger beaded bezels, and then eventually it went away altogether for more conventional knurling. But the dial here features that circular slide rule, the flight calculator that the Navitimer made famous from what I believe to be the first examples in 1954. Breitling claims 52. I think 54 is more credible, so I'm going to reference 54 as the year we got the first full-featured flight calculator, which means not only can it perform multiplication and division the way circular slide rules can, but it also features units included, so you can gather information such as your rate of drift, your ground speed, your airspeed, your rate of climb, fuel consumption. All of that can be calculated using this bezel, and it is surprisingly easy to use. I won't go too into this because I have other videos where I talk about using the bezel, but you will get quickly proficient with it, and you will be able to beat your friends when calculating the tip at a restaurant, even if they have their smartphones handy. Now, there is a moon phase here and a unique calendar. Silver black with a few red accents. It is a lush watch, it is a handsome watch, and it is a multifunction watch. In addition to the moon phase and the calculator, in addition to the chronograph functions, you have a number. I should probably have wound this watch before I started the video, but you have a semi-perpetual calendar. The perpetual calendar system is going to be reset every 1,461 days. So this is not an annual calendar, and it's not a perpetual calendar. It's a unique calendar Breitling invented that sits between the two, so it can deal with irregular length months, and even the jump from February to March, except for when February 29th comes along. It needs to be reset once every 4 years. So it is a semi-perpetual calendar. Now the timepiece features what Breitling calls caliber 19, which is based on a chronometer grade ETA 2892A2. So it has a modular vertical clutch chronograph caliber, and then it has the 1461 calendar with the moon phase. Automatic winding with bidirectional action. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It has a 42-hour power reserve. It has a stop seconds function. And of course, it is a COSC chronometer regulated in 5 positions. On the reverse side, you see the name of Leon Breitling, but also the image of the Rue Montbrillant, La Chaux-de-Fonds manufacturer that was Breitling's longtime home before the Schneider family purchased it and moved it to Grenchen canton of Solothurn. So the Montbrillant series is a tribute to the original, well, not original, the second but longest standing home of Breitling watches. You can see it's a combination of polished and relieved with a nice media blasted surround. All of this 30 meters water resistance, so you don't want to swim with it, but then again, you've got a super ocean for that. This is a fantastic confluence of complication and value. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. And we're back with the Breitling Montbrillant Olympus by night.